Saturday afternoon to you all YouTube. It is 2:22 in the afternoon, July the 19th. And as you can see, the desk is fairly clear other than the scrap of wire that you see. The project for today is a new wiring harness for my car stereo. I need to get some things done. I need to add some bullet connectors to the harness to make some certain items unpluggable because changes are coming. That's all I'm going to say for now. Basically what I want to do is basically add, this is the camera, rear backup camera wire, video cable, whatever you want to call it. It goes all the way to the trunk, and the video camera itself sits going to be sitting on the just above the license plate. And I haven't even got that out yet, but it's down here on the floor somewhere. But anyway, I thought I'd point out to you the fact that I have been working in here a little bit now. This is the primary area that I work in. This is kind of the secondary area. It is clear of a lot of stuff. Now, the last area that I want to show you is this area over here. And as you can see, it's not as clear as the rest of it. But it's not because I haven't, all that stuff that you see here is stuff that was over there. I've been working my way around this, and so I have these things into categories that I just need to find places to put them. And once that's done, all this will be cleared off, and I'll have my entire bench back, believe it or not. But like I said, there's certain things that I've been doing a little bit at a time. You can see here these things are for BDEK, and they are being moved to the bedroom, my shipping department. And as such, then like I say, I can move a lot of that stuff. I have a lot of computer things that it's in a box underneath the bench. You can't see it, but I have those boxed up. That was the primary two things that was on this bench taking up a lot of space, was BDEK projects and OGM projects. I might mention that also. And like I said, I just figured this was a good day. It's raining cats and dogs out there, as they say. And with that happening, I just thought this is the best day to do this, because I've got other things I need to get done. And this is something that had to be done before I can install the what I was talking about. So, no, this is not the subwoofer either. This is something completely different. You'll be excited to see it, I'm sure. But anyway, let's get on with the task in hand, and that is getting these wires, bullet connectors, attached to the cables so they are able to be unattached if needed. I'm going to put one on the back. There is a wire going to the backup lights that we're going to have to attach a wire to. Not sure exactly how I'm doing that yet. That's not going to be important at the moment, but the important part is what's under the dash. I need to get that hooked up so I can get on with my other businesses going on out there. So that is the primary goal. So let me get set up for that. I've got my soldering iron heating up, and basically I'm just going to solder this on to the two wires that need to be soldered to, and we'll go from there. Alright, back again. I have the two ends of the wire basically separated now, and I know which is which. This obviously is up by the head unit, because that's the one that plugs into the actual head unit for video in on the backup camera. And this is the, you can see it says back on there. That hooks up to that now, but this part will not be used, but this part will be. So I'm thinking probably cut it here, and then I can just attach a new bullet connector to that. Like I said, and the other end is basically going to be the same way. Now this is the end that will have the power. In other words, when you turn put it in reverse, the backup lights have power, and this one will get power then to hook up the provide power. What that does basically, and I'm going to double check this, but I think this wire and this wire is common, them two wires right there. And if they are, I think this just basically sends a signal back up to the head unit that, hey, we've got this energized now, and it's time to switch the monitor to the backup camera input. So you're going to see on the new one, it's going to be a little different, but we'll see. Let me get that done, and we'll bring it back. All right. Well, what you can see there, I hope, is the holder is holding the wire there, so that it keeps falling. It kept falling off the table, so I had to do something with it. So I put it there. That's the end of the wire there. That's going to get stuck down in there and soldered. First, I'm going to tin the inside of that with some solder, and I will tin the wire itself. And once that's done, then we can basically, and I want to use this other one to tin that because I don't have anything else to hold. I've got that one holding too. These things are handy. I'm telling you, they're really handy. So there you go. Those are both being held now. And as you can see, I do have the blue part of the insulated part there on that slid down over it. And we're going to just basically, there we go. So you can see that's full of solder now. And we'll tin the wire, do the same thing to it. Okay. Now that's good and soldered. Oops, wrong one. Now let's see if we can get this to go in here with a little heat, like that. Now I've got to get that little piece of solder off there that I inadvertently put on there. Let me get my tip locked off so it'll come off easier with the tip. There we go. That's off. Now that should be, that's the keyboard, should be, whoops. It did melt out a little bit, not too bad. It should be ready to slide over that. Everything's hunky-dory now. Whoops, you guys are not seeing everything, are you? I think I got you built a little bit there. Anyway, so you can see it's down on past the insulator now. That's all I really wanted, was it down past that, because I'm going to wrap it with tape anyway. But like I said, that should do that part of it. That's the again, that's the end that goes up to the head unit. Alright, now you've seen that part, and you see how well that worked. And so let's bring on the next patient. We'll be right back. Alright, we are back once again. As you can see clearly on the bench in front of you, this is the new new project, the new reason we need a new harness. And here is that harness, by the way. This one is a little different than the last one because it uses a, and I can't ever think of the name of this plug, but instead of having to actually strip the wires and do all that stuff, you only have to plug them in. So this is the Toyota wiring. The one with the white connectors is the Toyota wiring, and these just conveniently plug into that, and that plugs into your head unit, and everything is hunky-dory. Now, having said that, there's a couple of wires that have to be attached. This one that says illumination has to go to the orange wire, and I never can find that orange wire. Oh, there it is, right there. And that's, for some reason, I don't know why, but instead of hooking that up there where it should be hooked up normally, I guess there's enough difference in the car models and things like that. They felt like it should be just left out like that. So we'll have to have a bullet connector between these two wires here to attach those, and that will do. Now on the Toyota itself, this wire is blue or green, I can't never remember, but I've already checked all the wiring to make sure that is the correct wire, and it is. So now the other one is, believe it or not, one we were starting to work on, and you can see here, reverse trigger. Now there's nowhere on here on the documentation, because this does not come with a backup camera. You can buy one optionally. This was a little more expensive unit that we're usually using on my car. I paid I think $139 for this. There's several reasons why I did this, and I'm not going to go into all of them now, but suffice to say, this is just a better better deal all around. And it does the same thing as far as the USB drive. I'll be able to hook my drive back up to it just like I did in the other one, and it should work a lot better. Should is the key word. The biggest thing about this, and let me point that out before we go any further, and one of the biggest reasons I bought this was this piece here. Goes around there. Now, that's the way it arrived. It arrived with that on. And with that on, it's just like every other Chinese head unit. I don't know what the exact measurements are, but it's too big to fit into the, there you go. It's too big to fit in there. It basically butts up against it and that's it. But, remove that, and voila. Whoops. Let me do it this way, it'd be easier. Fits right in. Look at that. How's that? There you go. Snapped in. But that is why I bought it, because I got so tired of messing these plates up trying to get that in when this is just so much easier. And there's the name of the brand name of Eonon. Oh no, E-O-N-O-N. Eonon. So there's what it looks like, or will look like in the car once it's put in. Like I said, there's a little bit of play in it, but again, it's not not bad, because once you put the rest of the brackets on, you get that tight wherever you want it, and you'll never know it wasn't made for it. So that's that. Basically, same controls on the front of this one. You got, except for there's only a power button, and that is your home button also. Short press gives you home, and then if you hold it in a little longer, it'll go off. The radio will go off. Obviously, volume. Now this one has a volume that is different than the old one. You can turn it a little bit. The volume goes up a lot and down a lot. I mean, it's more what I'm used to a volume control doing. You know, instead of having to turn it 15 times to get it down or up, this is more like a traditional volume control. It just works like it's supposed to. But anyway, this is got all basically the same features, and now I am going to try to hook up things like Android Auto and things like that. Now, I didn't on the other one, and several reasons I didn't, but again, I'm going to try to do that on here. It also comes with an external microphone for the phone if you want to use it with that, and it also has the GPS, obviously. And originally I was going to put this GPS wire, try to run it through the defroster vent and have it exit out through there, but I may put a picture in here and show you it, but it sits so far back up towards the front of the car underneath the windshield there that you can't really get to it to drill it. And like I said, if I did, I just wouldn't be happy with that. So I'm going to run this one the same way I did the other one, and that worked out pretty good. Once in a while I had to get under there and push it up a little bit because that wire would fall down, but that was my own fault because I should have put some zip ties in there to hold that wire up, and it would have kept the wire in place a lot better, and I will do that with this one. I say that right now, but you know how to work. Anyway, so that's what I've got going here. I felt the need to do this. The other one, while it worked, it didn't work very good. Just like when I was trying to change things on the touchscreen, sometimes they would work, sometimes they wouldn't. You know, certain places on the screen seemed like it was dead. So, you know, I made use of it to get it to work and things like that, but I just wasn't happy with it. This one addresses a lot, I'd say 90% of the issues that I was having with that one. So we'll see how it works, and that's why I did the upgrade. So, like I said, this is why the changes are being made to the harness, and well, this is a new harness anyway. It had to be made, but and I'm hoping that reverse trigger wire is the correct wire. I didn't see anything. You have your steering wheel controls, which I don't use because there's two wires for that. Those will be tied together or taped together or something. And you see it's got the nice little plastic ends on it, so you don't have to worry about it shorting out on anything. So I'll just tape them together, and they'll be wherever they need to be. It's got an extra ground wire. I don't know why, but again, This one and the reverse trigger wire is the only two I'm going to mess with. So those are the two we're going to be working with. And again, I want to get this one done first. So I'd like to try this out, but that'll come later, or probably another part of the video or something like that, if I even do that. So that's that. I've got the car itself is all stripped down, ready to go. I've got the console out. I'm running the camera wire through there, and also the subwoofer wires are going through that. And that will come out the back of the console and go underneath the carpeting, underneath the seat. And then the camera wire itself will go all the way out to the trunk. And then the subwoofer will come out there right before the seat, because that's where it comes out. So that's the plan anyway. We'll see how that works out. I still have to run that big heavy wire to the battery from the for the subwoofer. That hasn't been done yet. It's just been so hot out there. I don't know where it is or how it is like where you guys live, but it's been very, very hot. And not the heat so much as the humidity. Each morning I've gotten up here lately, it's been maybe in the 70s, but the humidity is 99%. That's pretty much as heavy as you can get. And today it's raining, so I'm hoping, pretty big storm going through, I'm hoping that will drop a little of that humidity off, and I can get out and work on this thing a little bit better tomorrow maybe, or something. And I'd like to get that done and get this all mounted. As it's got a nice fuse, inline fuse built into it, and it comes with a spare fuse too. That was nice. But whatever the name was for these, and I never can remember it, it starts with an S, I think. But that's what these the newer car units are using, I guess. So basically, you hook up these wires from your Toyota to your head unit, and this is actually on the back of the head unit, and that's what it is, a type of connector. So anywho, that's that. So anyway, like I say, this one will go here. Easy enough to hook up. I mean, it's keyed. You can only go one way. So that's the plan anyway. And like I said, we want to get this bullet connector on the reverse trigger, and then the rest of it we can just hook up clip leaded style to see if that works. And we'll go from there. So let me get this set up for the soldering of that wire, and we'll go from there. All right. Well, I didn't make you suffer through that one. I figured it was easy enough to do, and you see me do it. I did exactly the same way. This is the illumination wire soldered to the orange wire, and I cut the orange wire off enough to where it could be reused if it had to be. It's got one of those little rubber or plastic covers on it, but there's nothing connected to it, so there's the other side of that connector is blank. So anyway, that is connected there. And I've got it taped. I was going to unplug it, but I've already got it taped up. So that's the way it's supposed to work, I think. Now the other one, like I said, I've got those taped up. These are the steering wheel control wires, both of those. They do have the plastic tips on them, so there's no worry about them shorting on anything. The other one is the reverse trigger. Now I don't have that hooked up because the wiring for it is over here. But basically it will hook up here, like so. Well, that's tight. I might have some solder on it. Anyway, it's supposed to hook up here. I'll have to get a tool or something, but like I said, it hooks up there, and that goes to the wiring, and we'll make sure that works. All I really need to do is hook up 12 volts to that right there and see if it makes the screen switch, is all I really need to do. But again, like I say, we'll hook it all up, and I'd like to test it out on the bench and get it all working properly, the way I've always done. That seems to work out better. There's some things that need to be set, and they're easier to set in here. I'm going to double check that, make sure there's, well, you know, I was beaten on that. That might be that might be part of it. But anyway, like I said, that's how that goes. Now the next part is going to be me hooking all this up and trying this out. Difficult at best, I'll say that. The wires that this one here won't be used at all for for the hookup on the bench, because these are the back speakers, and there's no sense in hooking those up. Just the front speakers here, which is the gray pair here and the white pair here. Those are the front speakers. And there's your keyed 12 volts is the red one. The yellow one's the power all the time. And those will just be hooked together. I don't know where the rest of them are, where the rest of them go. The blue, I'm not really sure if that's antenna or something like that, but it's not used, I don't believe. And there's your main ground. Now you can see it's got a nice big heavy ground, so we don't really need to hook up that secondary ground, I don't think. But I'm pretty sure that's the blue wire is for the power antenna, and that's not used, obviously. So on the back of the car stereo, let me turn this around and show you. There are some connections here, as you can see. There's one of these wires here on this one here is the amp wire, and it's a dedicated amp wire, so basically we'll hook that up to the subwoofer. And for now, what I'm going to do is just add a piece of wire to that to where it hangs down low enough to where I can get a hold of it without having to take the radio out and do all that stuff. And then when I do put the subwoofer in, I'll be able to get a hold of that. I may go ahead and put a connector like these bullet connectors or something like that on it just to make sure. And that's just a trigger wire. The main power for the subwoofer comes from the battery. So that's just a trigger wire. Basically, when it sees power on that wire, it turns the subwoofer on. So that's all it does. And I think that's about it, but your main hookup is here. I don't know if it goes that way or the other way, but it goes this way. Just like that. And that's it. That and these, and then your antenna, your car antenna goes up here. Now I noticed when I was getting the old one out, the car antenna itself comes separated. There's a plastic piece that broke on it, but it's still got all the parts there. And as long as I can get that center pin in there where it goes, and then the rest of it, goes in here for the ground, I think it'll be fine. But it's short, and that's the problem with it. So anywho, that's a look at that. And like I say, I'll try to get this hooked up and get it working on the bench so we can basically go through some of the functions and look at it. And I will, if I haven't already, I'll put up some links to this to show you what it is and where I got it, of course, Amazon. But I think this is going to be exactly what the doctor ordered, as they say. It just seems like a better unit quality-wise, and I actually watched quite a few YouTube reviews on this unit and other Enon products. That people are very happy with them. They're satisfied. Now this is I think this is their bottom of the line as far as the head units go. I think they go up in price from here. They did have another one just like this one, only it was Linux based, and I come close to getting that, but actually the Android on the head unit in the car is much better, more versatile, I guess is what I would say. You can install apps. Now the Linux, you probably could install apps, but nothing. There's nothing on there probably for cars in the Linux categories. So everything though on the Android it's kind of geared that way. So that's that. Now also this has another feature. It's I don't know how we can see it, but that's a USB-C connector, and that's a charging port where it actually charges. The charge rate is much higher than the normal USB. And a lot of these devices now are using the USB-C for that purpose. And that's what that is. It's a dedicated power or charging port. You can't use it for data at all. Now here's your USB-A down here that you can use for data. Of course the back connectors is what I'm going to use because again they go down to that other hard drive in there, and it just works better. So, or for me it does. I don't know for anybody else. But I'm hoping this will be the answer to all my little problems that I've had so far with stuff. And if it is, then I'll be happy. If it ain't, well, I won't be so happy, I guess. So I guess that's all I wanted to say about that. So let me get this other one hooked up. The other one. Let me get this one hooked up with some power, and we'll try it out and see what it does.